Welcome to Geek Philosophy, where it's all geek to me. In the last video, I introduced my broader moral framework, Contextual Moral Pluralism. But today, I want to focus on one specific idea from that framework, because honestly, it may be the philosophical center of the entire system, and that's the irreducibility constraint. What does it actually mean to be morally responsible? Not legally responsible, not politically responsible, morally responsible. Because throughout history, human beings have repeatedly attempted to transfer responsibility upward, to kings, to governments, to ideologies, to systems, to religions, even to God. I was following orders. The law required it. The greater good demanded it. God commanded it. And the irreducibility constraint says, none of those explanations completely erase moral responsibility. That is the irreducibility constraint. Some moral culpability always remains with the acting agent. Always. This does not mean all participants share equal guilt. The mastermind may bear greater responsibility than the subordinate. The dictator more than the soldier, the cult leader more than the follower. But the person carrying out the act never reaches zero. Without this constraint, moral systems become terrifyingly easy to exploit. Consequentialism can justify atrocities for the greater good. Deontology can become blind obedience to rules. Virtue ethics can romanticize loyalty and honor over conscience, and divine command theory can sanctify violence itself. The irreducibility constraint exists to stop moral laundering, to stop systems from cleansing individuals of responsibility. After World War II, one of the most important moral questions in human history emerged. Can obedience absolve atrocity? The defense offered repeatedly was, I was just following orders. By modern moral thought largely rejected that defense. Why? Because humanity recognized something fundamental. Moral agency cannot be completely outsourced. A system may pressure you, indoctrinate you, manipulate you. But if responsibility can always be transferred upward, then no atrocity would ever belong to anyone. In Star Wars, stormtroopers are often portrayed as faceless extensions of the Empire. But morally, the question remains, at what point does obedience become complicity? In Marvel Comics stories, organizations like Hydra constantly rely on hierarchy to diffuse accountability. Nobody feels fully responsible because responsibility is distributed. And this is partly why Batman refuses to become an executioner. Because once you convince yourself that necessity erases responsibility, moral limits begin dissolving. And eventually, this idea forced me into conflict with divine command theory. Because divine command theory ultimately allows moral culpability to become reducible upward into divine authority. If God commands an act, the moral burden transfers upward. The human agent becomes merely obedient. But the irreducibility constraint rejects that possibility. No authority, human or divine, can completely sever the moral connection between an agent and the harm they enact. Now, this does not mean all responsibility is equal. Contextual moral pluralism is not simplistic. Coercion matters, knowledge matters, indoctrination matters, fear matters, and ignorance matters. A manipulated child soldier is not morally equivalent to the dictator, but neither is the child soldier morally identical to an unconscious tool. The irreducibility constraint is not about absolute condemnation. It's about rejecting total absolution. At its deepest level, the irreducibility constraint is really a defense of moral agency itself. It insists that human beings remain morally connected to what they choose to enact in the world. Because the moment people believe responsibility can be completely transferred elsewhere, to ideology, to systems, to tribes, to nations, or to God, history becomes very dangerous. The irreducibility constraint does not claim morality is simple. It claims morality is personal, even inside systems, even under pressure, even inside history itself. And within contextual moral pluralism, this becomes the moral floor beneath every ethical framework. No system may completely sever the relationship between moral agency and enacted harm. So, maybe the real philosophical question is not who gave the order, but at what point do we stop pretending obedience erases responsibility? If you enjoyed this video, please share, like, and subscribe, then join or begin a discussion in the comments below. This has been Geek Philosophy, and until next time, don't just watch, think.